Okay, tubers, I am going to be replacing the valve cover gaskets on this 3.8. I'm going to show you what you need, how to do it. Just a helpful video here. All I do is just helpful videos. First thing you'll need is you'll need to take off this bracket right here. It's one whole piece. It's a 13 millimeter. 13. Then you will need to take off these valve cover screws, which is a 10 millimeter. And actually, you will need a swivel socket too, which is somewhere. I'll find it. And I've already got the gaskets. I've had them for a while. I've just been waiting to put them on. So I'm going to show you step by step what you need, how you need to do it. They're pretty simple, just takes a little time. So yeah, I'll show you what I'll be doing first on that back one, and we'll go from there. Okay, so the bracket's off. Just two 13 millimeter screws. And now I'm going to start pulling off the valve cover gasket, or the valve cover rather. You will need, like I said, 10 millimeter and a 1/4 inch ratchet. Okay, so I got the back valve cover loosened. You'll have to take off one of these fuel lines here, and what you'll need for that is one of these connectors. It just goes around the pipe right there, and it pushes these little prongs down, and then you just pull this connector off that pipe right there, that little fitting, because it's a lipped fitting. And then it should just slide right out. There's going to be a little gas go everywhere, so I mean it shouldn't be much, but just a an ounce or so, or two, or whatever. But then you should just be able to finesse it out, and then we'll clean it up. We'll clean the inside of it, and then I'll show you how to install the gaskets on them. Okay, so that one's out, and my camera's not focusing. There we go. Okay, so this one's out, and this gasket is just flat as a flitter. So let's just take a little look at the rocker arms here, and they look in good shape. They're not loose, which is good. I mean, they're not like, if they were, I'd just quit the job and I'll park the car. But surprisingly, for 243,000 miles, it's not. So, we're going to clean this up, and I'm going to show you how to clean it up. What you want to do is you want to take a little razor blade, and you want to get that gasket, pull it up, and there's the gasket. Just throw that on the ground because it's no good, or throw it away. Then what you want to do is just, again, take this little razor blade and don't cut the plastic, but clean the surface all the way around it. Oh, and another thing you want to look for inside this valve cover, make sure there's no sludge like inside of it. This one actually is in pretty good condition. I got Mr. Jack Dog stretched out in the sun. Yeah, just make sure your surface is pretty good and clean. You don't have to clean it the best, just make sure the crud and old oil is off the surface. Then I'm going to wipe the outside of it up, clean it up, make it look nice again. And very important too, make sure nothing falls down in that head. If so, the car's blown in, you might as well just park it, quit the job. Okay, so what I ended up having to do for this back valve cover is I had to undo one of those screws, well, both the screws. It's a 13 millimeter, you'll need that, a 6-inch extension, or excuse me, a 2-inch extension, 2-inch, 3/8 breaker bar, and a 3/8 ratchet. There's one on top here and there's one down at the bottom. Just follow the hole and go around. You'll have to undo the belt. For this tensioner, it's a 15 millimeter. You pull up, you get the belt off, and then it goes down. So it's going to take a little muscle for that idler pulley. I did a set of valve covers on a 3.8 Series 2 V6, which was a 2002, and I had to undo the alternator, the water pump, the power steering pump. They changed it on this 3.8, and leave that alone. You leave that alone. Don't be licking that paint. Well, he wasn't licking it, but he was smelling it. I had to take off alternator, you know, like I said, alternator, water pump, power steering pump, just to get that back valve cover. This one I just had to undo the power steering pump and the 2 gas lines. Well, and that bracket right up there. And so now I'm going to start on this front one. And clean it up, make it look nice again, pretty, whatever. And then I'll show you how to re-put in the gasket, and the video will be done. Okay, so got the gaskets on, and I painted them. Pretty, huh? That's a Troy-Bilt red. I thought that would look pretty nice sitting right there. Just give it a little color. Okay, so gaskets are done. Jack's drinking water. Now I've got to put the bolts in, and then I can tighten it down. So I'm going to easily finesse this onto this front valve cover, because this is the front one. And then I'm going to let the other one dry a little bit. Never seen a puppy do that. Anyway, okay, so yeah, that's that. Okay, so that valve cover's in place. Now I got to do the back one. So I've got to let it dry just a little bit longer, and then I can put it on there. So I'll be back. Okay, so front valve cover's in, back valve cover's in. Now what you want to do is you want to take your bracket first, put it down in here, because the power steering pump's loose from the bracket right here. So just take your bolts, fill it down in there, feel where your hands were, make sure that's where they were, and then just bolt it back up. And then I'll show you, in case you forgot or don't want to rewind the video, I'll show you how to put the power steering pump back on and hook the hoses back up for the fuel lines. Okay, so here's the fuel line. You want to just take and snap it on. That's it. That's all you do. It's simple. Then you'll take and do this one the same way. Snap it on. And that's it. And it stays there. Okay, now brackets are on. Forgot to plug that in. The fuel lines are on. Purge solenoid's on. And be careful if your car has over 200,000 on it, like this one. Be careful with what you do, because everything's brittle on it. Okay, so now you'll just line your pump back up. And I'll have to have 2 hands, but just put your screws back in and then just turn the wheel, because it's got holes in it. As you can see, holes in the pulley. Just line your screws up, tighten it down, put your belt back on, and you're done. But I'll still show you how to do that. And she's done. There's the power steering pump on, belts on, purge solenoid, fuel lines, valve covers, gaskets, grommets, everything that come with it. So now I'm going to start it up, let it run, see if it leaks. If it leaks, I know I didn't do it right. If it doesn't leak, I know it's done right. So let's start her up and see what happens. I don't see no leaking. I don't see no smoke. I don't smell oil. Of course, it'll have to run just a little bit. I see a little smoke right there, but that's from where I took the valve covers off and it ran down. So we'll just look and see. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. Have a good day.